The rand is still pressured. What's driving sentiment today?
Yeah, thank you, Dudu. I think the big factor in the rand is the resurgence of the dollar. I think the dollar has strengthened quite meaningfully. I think particularly because of what we are seeing as strong economic data in the US. I think the ISM data that came out, so on the non-manufacturing side, so the Purchasing Manager Index, basically it looks like there is still resilience in the US economy, which may mean that the inflation is not likely to come down anytime soon, or at least within the target band of the Federal Reserve. Another added pressure on that is also that we've seen the oil prices ticking up slightly higher and showing resilience. So that feeds into inflation, global inflation. So I think the message that's coming through from markets is that there is a concern that the Fed might maintain rates at these levels for a long time, or might even step up a bit further to try and bring inflation under control. As a result, our rand has weakened against the dollar, and many other currencies have actually weakened against the dollar.
The FNB BER Consumer Confidence Index for South Africa increased to 16 points in the third quarter of 2023 from 25 points in the previous period, the lowest reading in a year. Help us make sense of the data.
Look, I think the key message that's coming through there is that the high end of the market, or at least the higher LSM consumers, they seem to be very resilient, and that data is actually corroborated by the fact that if you look at the growth numbers in Shoprite, the Checkers brand has done much better in terms of organic growth versus the Shoprite brand. So what it just gives you a sense of is that the higher end of the market is certainly resilient, and certainly this BER data supports that kind of perspective, that there is resilience in the market. We are seeing that improvement largely because there was that improvement in the buying patterns of the higher end of the market.
BAT has now formally entered into an agreement to sell its Russian and Belarusian businesses. What's going on?
Yeah, I think BAT is selling probably not out of their will. I mean, they control about 25% of the tobacco market in Russia, probably in Belarus as well. But they basically selling to comply with the US sanctions on EU sanctions on Russia. So they're basically selling the business to the management teams in Belarus and Russia, and essentially they'll exit that market completely. I don't think that it's going to have a major impact on their numbers. It's not a highly significant number in their financials, but certainly a move that was probably involuntary for management. I mean, they could have done well with that market.
Pick n Pay founder Raymond Ackerman has died. We've heard stories, rather, about how his business has been used as a case in universities, or will be used as a case in universities. Let's talk about his legacy and contribution to the retail sector.
No, I think, first of all, we have to say condolences to his family. I think he's been, from a retail perspective, he's been a giant in terms of the contribution he made from the early, probably 30s, 40s, where he established the business from 4 stores to over 2,000 today. But not only that, I think his contribution on equality was meaningful even during apartheid, where he insisted on promoting everybody on the basis of merit rather than race. The other thing is, his approach to customer relationship was always unique in that he put customers genuinely with his heart. He put customers ahead of everything else. And lastly, I think that what I could say I've observed was his humility was always humble, and even despite his financial success, despite his business success, he was always a humble person. I think it's a great loss to the industry.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon, Benguela Fund Managers. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, Zwelakhe Mnguni.